All right, guys, today we're going to talk about the 3 scammiest things in the auto repair industry. Let's get into it. Let's talk about a service that we all need to have done regularly, and it's a very important service to have done, but there's kind of a salesy thing out there that gets you locked in, and what we're talking about is alignments. The salesy thing that I'm talking about, and I'm sure you guys have all seen it in some way or another somewhere, are lifetime alignments. So what is a lifetime alignment? Well, first of all, a lifetime alignment doesn't mean that your alignment gets done and it's just going to last forever. That's not a reality at all, and you're not going to be told that when you buy the lifetime alignment. I'm going to keep doing that. What you're going to be told is, oh, you can come back in here and have your alignment, adjusted whenever you want. And sometimes they put, some restrictions on that. You can only come in every so often or every 6 months or whatever it may be. But basically what it does is it locks you into that shop, and you have to go back to that shop or that chain to have your alignment done. Now, if you like that place and you like that shop, then maybe you think that's a good thing. Here's the downside of it. One is the reason they're doing it is to get you to come back. I have no problem with that, right? But are they doing the alignment properly? Because when they do a lifetime alignments, a lot of times either they're going to give it to a tech, and he may or may not be getting paid to do the alignment because technically the shop's not getting paid to do the alignment. So if he's not getting paid to do the alignment, what's he going to do? More than likely, I'm not saying that it's always going to happen like this. I mean, you got some guys that are going to take their time and do it right, even if they're not getting paid for it. But what you're going to get a lot of times is what we call a tow and go. And there's 3 different angles on the front of a vehicle. There's 2 on the rear of the vehicle that need to be adjusted. The toe is one of them. The toe is by far the one that's going to wear your tires the most, but you still need to have the other ones adjusted. And if they're just getting in there, they don't find anything loose, because what they're trying to do, honestly, is, they're getting you back in there, they're checking the front end, shaking it down, looking at the car, they're trying to find something else wrong. Hopefully they're going to be honest about that and not say something you don't need. But if they don't find anything loose, they don't find anything out of, that needs to be replaced, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll just set the toe and off you go, and they won't set the caster, they won't set the camber. They're just kind of getting you down the road. So I've seen some I've seen some things that people do. I've seen guys lean up against the car or push the car, because what we're looking for is everything to be green on the computer, which green doesn't always mean good. We can get a whole video about alignments and why you need to do them and when and all that stuff and how. But just because it's green doesn't mean it's good. But when they print out the paper for you, if you see it's all green, you think it's fine. And I've literally seen people lean on the car or push the car up and down to get the thing to look right. And it's just a sad part of this industry that happens. And hopefully by getting this out there, I'm not trying to bash anybody at all. I hope you guys know that. I just want you guys to be aware of what happens, and just keep your eye out, be diligent, on your research and, what you're doing and why you're doing it. So it's just something that I don't really like. I don't like lifetime alignments, just because, if you're going in and you need alignment, just pay for the alignment when you need it. And then in the long run, you'll probably be a lot better off. Real quick, how about go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. What do you believe is the biggest scam that there is in the automotive world? We want to see them so we can cover them in a video in the future. All right, back to the video. The next one is a really, really kind of something I'm passionate about, and I talk to shop owners about. Now, hopefully, we got a ton of shop owners out watching this, as well as DIYs and professional techs. And that is free diagnostics. Free, it just doesn't exist. You're not going to get something for free. And I know I see, right now you got a bunch of people that are typing in the notes down there that, no, my shop does it for free as long as I do the repair with them. Well, here's the reality. The reality is this. Here's the scenarios that will happen if you get free diagnostics, okay? The first one is, as long as you do the repair with us, I'll diagnose it for free, all right? So they go in and they spend, I'm just throwing total, just numbers out here, just times and stuff. They go in there, they spend, an hour diagnosing the problem. And let's say that it is a mass airflow sensor. It's mass airflow sensor on a Volkswagen. Super easy to do. So they spend an hour, they diagnose it, and I know you have a lot of guys out there going to say, it doesn't take me an hour to diagnose that. Well, this is just a scenario. They spend X number of time, I'm just saying an hour. and they diagnose the vehicle. And then they look up how much time it costs to replace the mass airflow sensor, because as long as you do the repair with them, they're doing the diagnosis for free. Well, let's say the mass airflow sensor costs for 3/10 of an hour. So that's how we work in the automotive world, is off tenths of an hour. So it's 3/10 of an hour. Are they going to charge you 3/10 of an hour? Because that's like no time at all to replace that mass airflow sensor. Or are they going to charge you 1 3/10, right? So I've just seen it too many times where somebody will bring a receipt in and they'll say, oh, I had this checked, and they replace this part, and they said, the diagnostics would go towards it. And you look at it and you're like, well, I don't say this because we don't do this, but we'll see the receipt and say, and it'll say, free diagnostics free, replace X part, 1.4 or 1.5, whatever it is. And I know that part only calls for, a very, very small amount of time. Well, what did you do? You paid for the diagnostics. You just paid for it inside the repair. They just added it to the repair. Now, if you say, well, I'm okay with that, I feel good about that, and Tink is jumping up on it right now. Tink's all happy to see you. So, to me, that's hidden. And if they told you it was free, it really wasn't free. It just went into the repair. Now, the other scenario could be that you've got a shop that maybe isn't really confident in themselves, right? So they need to get people in. Maybe they're a shop that's just getting started or something. And if you're a shop owner and this is you, listen to this. So they're trying to get you in the door. So they're trying to offer you something. So they're saying, I'm going to do it for free. And then let's say you do get it for free and they don't buffer it into the cost of the repair, but that shop's probably not going to be around for long, because the only money they make is the money that they make when they spend time diagnosing a vehicle. And if they spend an hour diagnosing your vehicle and they only get 3/10 of an hour to repair it, and then they're spending 3/10 actually putting the part on it and then test driving the car and making sure it's good, reality is they got an hour and a half in it and they got 3/10, not going to be around long doing that. So, what you want to do is, if you're somebody who goes to a small shop like that and you like this person, maybe you know them, they've just started the shop up, you want to pay them. Right? You want them to be successful. So that's another scenario with that. The other one would be that, you've got a shop that is, maybe they've been around for a really long time and they've just always done it this way. And they're trying to, maybe they don't have the right tooling, or they don't have, so they're basically guessing at what's wrong with the vehicle. And so they don't feel good about, charging you for it, because they're really kind of guessing at it anyway. And they don't have just, Lord knows thousands of dollars worth of, tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to test stuff with. So, what they're doing is they're just throwing a part at it. I mean, they're just maybe pulling the code and throwing a part at it. And you're kind of getting what you pay for there. It's free and it's a guess, right? So here's the way it should be, and the way we do it, way I think it should be anyway, and it's why we do it like this, is when you pay for a diagnostic, then that should be guaranteed. Just like if you paid us to do a water pump on your car and you expect that water pump to be guaranteed, that diagnostic, if I tell you what's wrong with the vehicle, then that should be guaranteed. Before I get into my biggest pet peeve in the industry, I want to go over one thing about free again real fast. And that is, if there's a shop, like we do help people, we do a lot of charity for people and help people. And when it's free, right? So, but on a day-to-day basis, if a shop is saying free diagnosis as long as you do the repair, that's what we're talking about. But if somebody's doing, just some community work or helping out somebody and it's free, then yeah, I guess there is free, because we do a lot of free work here, but it's to help people. So I hope that kind of clarifies that a little bit. My biggest pet peeve is you're driving a vehicle down the road, check engine light comes on. You're like, oh my gosh, check engine light's on. Hopefully you're kind of going, I need to get that into a shop, not waiting too long. But you call up a shop, I need to get it in. So you get it in tomorrow, right? So it came on today, you're in the shop the next day, and they do a diagnostic on the vehicle. Whether you're paying for it, this is where the scenario comes in, how it should be why it should be guaranteed, right? So in this scenario, you took it in the next day and they diagnosed it and they said you needed, I'm gonna put a very common one out there, you needed an oxygen sensor. So you're like, yep, they gave you the price on it and they said, and you're like, yeah, I need to get my car fixed. I wanna go ahead and get that oxygen sensor put in it. Go ahead and do it. Get the oxygen sensor put in it. And either you come and get the vehicle, you drive off, and a few days later, next day, whenever, the light comes back on. Or the car never even leaves the shop, and they call you up and go, hey, well, we got the oxygen sensor in it. And in either scenario, this is kind of how it goes. Well, you know, you get it back in there, they check it, and they're like, well, you needed that, but now you need this, right? I am certainly not saying that there are not scenarios where you can have multiple failures on a vehicle. I am saying that if that light came on yesterday, something broke yesterday, and it was one thing that broke. If it comes out that and you need to get this information from them. They scanned the vehicle, they got codes in there, and then the same codes came back. They didn't fix the vehicle. I mean, I hate to say that, but the vehicle wasn't fixed. And this is why you should pay for diagnostics. Because if you paid for that, they should guarantee that that's going to fix the vehicle. And if it doesn't fix the vehicle, then they either don't charge you for that repair and and charge you for the correct repair, or they just fix it, and whichever one you want to, whichever one it is. Which really, realistically, the one that's going to fix it, whatever price it is the one you should pay for. So, but that's where, you know, a lot of times free diagnostics, like, well, you know, they didn't charge you to check it out, so, you know, now you need this, you know. So, and again, when it really is free, somebody might not be taking the time to do it. They might just be scanning it, throwing a part on it, or whatever it may be. So, you know, understand that now. Let me make sure we all understand this. If that light came on and then you waited a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months before you went in and had the car checked, all bets are off. Yeah, I don't know how many things you got wrong with that vehicle. You got one light, and so, you know, it doesn't get brighter. So you need to you know, get the car inspected and get it diagnosed when the failure happens. So, and then it should only be one problem. Now, if, you know, something got damaged, and I mean, there are scenarios. It's so rare though, and I mean, I've heard so many convoluted stories about, you know, oh, the tail light blew, and when the tail light blew, it shorted and it took the engine control module out. And, you know, when that happened, the anti-lock brakes locked up and it caught. I mean, I've heard some crazy stories and a lot of parts put on there. I've got a bunch of friends who are mobile technicians, and they go out and they go to shops. Generally, they do programming. So they go to shops to program modules and things that these shops put in. And so many times it's like an engine module gets put in a car, or any module gets put in a car, they go to program it. It can't be programmed because that wasn't what was wrong with the car to begin with. They just can't communicate with it, and it ends up being something simple like, you know, a ground wire or connection or something like that. Now, I don't know who pays for the parts. You know, a lot of my friends who do this mobile work have actually stopped going to shops because they're like, we feel like if we go there and we fix the vehicle, and then they turn around and charge the person for the repair for the parts that they put on it, even though it didn't need them, they feel like they're kind of helping them out to be able to take advantage of people. So they've stopped going to these places because of that. So, you know, it's one of those things that as a consumer, as somebody who's taking your vehicle in, you need to be, again, diligent about understanding the process. It should be very transparent. The shop should supply you with anything as far as, you know, what the codes were, you know, why is a repair needed, any kind of documentation on scopes or data, or how did they prove it out, right? I mean, how did they determine what was wrong with the vehicle? You know, we always tell our guys, write the book, right? Write the book. Exactly how did you come to this conclusion, and why does it need the part, right? And then once the part's replaced, confirm that it fixed it, right? Do the replacement, go test drive the vehicle, rerun through the test to be sure. I'm not saying you got to rerun through an hour-long set of tests, but you need to rerun through stuff, the data and things, to be sure that that part is now functioning the way it should and no other problems happen. Where this thing got really big was when, and I've seen shops all the time with these little disclaimers like, oh, system can't, you know, I'll give you an example. Your vehicle needs your oxygen sensors to function properly to test your catalytic converter. It's got to have them. So if an oxygen sensor fails, it may not be able to test, it won't be able to test the catalytic converter. Then if you wait too long and then you put an oxygen sensor in it, it is possible that now the converter gets tested and the converter fails. But if this happened yesterday, the likelihood of that is very, very small. if you wait 6 months, all bets are off. So these are just a few scenarios and what we have run into in the business. So anyway, I hope you like this. If you did, let me know. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. 100%, please leave a comment down below. Let us know, have you run into any of these scenarios? Have you had good luck maybe with lifetime alignments, or, do you have a provider that does free diagnostics, and why do you think that that's a good thing? What did they explain it to you? I want to hear all these things. I want to read all about this because I want to know, what else is out there and how you guys are interacting, with the automotive world. So appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one.